So as some of you may know, iOS is one of the most popular operating systems out there. I think it is probably one of the most popular operating systems for phones. And I've been using iPhones and iOS since like iOS 6 or iOS 5, but I haven't really been reviewing them till like iOS 9. And what I can tell you is that with every single iOS version, there are highs and there are lows. Some people like them, some people don't like them. Certain updates can be better than other ones, and I truly do think there are a couple of different versions of iOS that people actually liked more than others. Now, first of all, I think one of the best updates, maybe not the best updates, but one of the bigger changes that Apple made from one generation to the other for software was probably with iOS 6 to iOS 7. Now, this is a very, very interesting little debacle because with iOS 6, that was one of the most stable versions of iOS at that time. That was extremely stable. It did look a little bit dated, but people were really happy with that type of design, and I think people really liked having somewhat of a more stable device rather than all the bells and whistles of something else. Now, it may have not looked like the coolest thing in the world, but I do think a lot of people liked it at that time. And like I mentioned, I think I used it for a little bit. I had an iPhone, I think 3GS or something that actually supported this version of software or something, and it was a really decent experience. This thing came out around the same time as the iPhone 5 as well. And from one generation to the other, like I mentioned, from iOS 5 to iOS 6, there may have not been a big visual change, but this was a very strong and stable version of software, which I think was one of the best versions of software Apple ever made, and I think as a consensus, people really like it. Now, I think iOS 7 was an even more important update than that. Even though it was probably one of the weirder updates, it wasn't the most stable update, of all time, I do think this was one of the more important updates Apple has ever pushed out. When you look at an iOS 7 device and you look at an iOS 6 device, there are such major changes and major differences that I just can't believe that they're the same thing, to be honest. They completely redesigned the icons. The user interface was pretty much completely different, and this was a massively different design change from its previous generation to the next generation. To give you some more perspective, if I look at an iOS 7 device and I look at something like an iOS 4.15 device now that we're on now, I don't really tell crazy big differences between them. Yeah, there are some changes here and there, but to be honest, I can't really tell a crazy big difference between them besides the widgets and stuff, and in some cases iOS 7 may actually look a little bit cooler, which is actually pretty funny. Now, I will tell you there's a lot of different things that came with this update. We got, tons of different things. The design was the number one difference in my opinion. We got AirDrop, which is crazy. We got the new control center, a new notification center. The new app switcher came with this. We actually got CarPlay in this specific version of software. We got Siri, and we got tons of other things. Spotlight search, that was updated here too. So this was another big update. It was completely the opposite of iOS 6 because it wasn't really that stable, and a lot of people had problems with it, but I think it was a very important update for sure. Now, I think another update that's probably just as important as this one, or maybe not as important, but it was pretty good, was iOS 12. Now, iOS 11, in my opinion, was a massive update, but it was just so buggy and had so many problems, and that was one of the first versions of software I had that actually, I used every single day, that it really wasn't that stable version of software. iOS 12 fixed a lot of those issues, and even though it wasn't a big update, it fixed a lot of things that we kind of had problems with, and I think iOS 12 was another one of those big massive updates. I think iOS 10 and iOS 12 were pretty much kind of in the same ballpark, where they were fixing problems that the previous version of software had, and I do think as of this point, iOS 14 is also another versions of those softwares that everyone likes. I love iOS 14. I think it's probably just as important as iOS 7. I would say iOS 7 is the most important one, but I do think iOS 14, for it being just released last year, it was a big update. We got a lot of different things, and looking at how iOS 15 turned out, iOS 14 was a massive update, and I'm really happy Apple actually went ahead and produced that version of software and added widgets and added a ton of different things with that version of software as well. So those are a couple versions of iOS that I think we all mostly liked for the most part. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.